Do you suffer from FOMO? That's FOMO, or the fear of missing out. This is an English phrase, or more correctly, an acronym, because it's made up of the first letters of each word, FOMO. And FOMO is perhaps something which many of us are familiar with. Fear of missing out describes that want, that desire to be included in lots of things, to feel that we're popular and we have lots of friends. And FOMO is also an anxious feeling. We don't want the sense that other people are having better social lives or more fun than we are. During the COVID pandemic, some people experienced relief. No more FOMO. FOMO disappeared for a while in 2020 and 2021 because no one was able to socialize then, so there was no fear of missing out. But now things are different, and perhaps once again we have too much emphasis, too much expectation on ourselves and our social lives. An article I read recently and which I covered in a subscription episode, well, it began with these words. Try to think back to the last day that you remember that wasn't packed full of things to do, people to see, places to go. Was it within the last week or outside of recent memory? I read that and thought, yes, that's me. I'm busy all the time. So as a follow-on from that, let me introduce in this podcast the idea of JOMO, the joy of missing out. Let's take a different viewpoint and see what happens. So this podcast is here to help you with your English language learning. Yes, I'm introducing a couple of English phrases that you may not know, FOMO and JOMO, but much more than this. Our podcast gives you opportunity to practice your English on a topic that you might listen to anyway. It gives you a taste of what Adept English provides for language learners. That is, interesting topics with slightly easier English and explanations of the more difficult words. There's a huge amount of evidence that listening to spoken English is the activity that is most important for your language learning, and it helps your fluency when you speak. So try out this podcast, and if you like it, go to our website at adeptenglish.com. You can sign up for our subscription service and get even more English language listening material. It's much, much cheaper than English lessons, and you can improve your English while you're busy with other things. So the subscription episode that I made recently is called Is It Just Me or Are We All Too Busy? And in this, I discuss the changes that have happened in a relatively short time in our modern world, and the fact that we human beings evolve, that's EVOLVE, we change in response to our environment pretty slowly. And the article I mentioned, it's not just you. Scientists say modern life is pushing the human mind beyond its limits. That was in the magazine Science Alert. So basically what this is saying, our brains have not had chance to catch up with the demands of modern life. We evolved over thousands of years to live in small groups of people who were very familiar to us. Our brains aren't equipped to deal with the modern workplace, living in huge cities with other people wherever we go. We simply aren't designed to deal with so many people in our lives. No wonder we're all busy and stressed. And increasingly more and more of us live in cities, live in the modern world. So this is part of that lifestyle. And of course, you know what else I'm going to say. Social media doesn't help. We look at what other people are doing on social media. People, of course, put the best bits of their lives on there, and it sets up this idea that we are missing out. We suffer from FOMO. Our lives are not as good or as sociable as other people's. We're missing out. So welcome today to the idea of JOMO. That's JOMO and stands for the joy of missing out. The idea that missing out can sometimes be a positive thing. If you suffer from a lot of FOMO, then you may well be ready to welcome JOMO into your life. It's the antidote to FOMO. You feel joyful and happy and content to miss out on some things in your life. It's an antidote, antidote. Usually, an antidote is a substance that acts against a poison or a toxin, but here we're using it to mean something that has an opposite effect. JOMO involves taking pleasure in what you're doing in the moment. It's not worrying about what other people may be doing elsewhere. It involves being your own person, content with yourself and the activity that you've chosen. It's FOMO's self-sufficient cousin. At its heart, JOMO is a shift from getting satisfaction and pleasure from the outside world, from other people, to getting satisfaction from your own world, your own quiet internal experiences. And in contrast to FOMO, which means lots of comparison, lots of competition and fear, JOMO is based on autonomy. That's Autonomy. Autonomy means choosing your own way in life, choosing what's good for you, and it can bring a real sense of peace. JOMO encourages people to embrace solitude. That's solitude, meaning being alone, and it helps people be present in the moment rather than feeling the need to chase after every experience or social event. Let me be clear, JOMO doesn't mean isolation or complete disconnection from other people. Instead, it encourages to think carefully about how we allocate our time and energy. To allocate, allocate. JOMO runs on how we feel right now and gives priority to our personal well-being. JOMO means sometimes opting out of activities or interactions that don't bring us that much value or meaning, or ones which you no longer enjoy. So for some people, embracing JOMO can be really good for their mental health. It may mean coming off social media, cutting back your social schedule, and spending more time doing peaceful activities that are stress-free. JOMO allows people to step away from all the noise and pressure, and studies have shown that reducing screen time and digital interaction can help with depression, stress, and anxiety. The most common mental health problems, of course. And it's interesting, I think, that we have to come up with a phrase for this, JOMO, as though we needed permission. We needed to make it official. One of the things that you may find if you cut back your focus on other people and the amount of energy that you give out because of FOMO, well, you may find that your productivity increases. Productivity, Productivity, is a noun meaning how productive you are, how much work you get through. If you spend a day working at home and you turn off your phone and you don't look at your email or social media, you may be amazed how much you get done. Experts on productivity sometimes recommend deep work, which means periods of concentration on demanding tasks without interruption. Often, if you have a long period of focused work like this without distractions, without interruptions from your phone or email, you can be so much more productive. You can just get much more done. And JOMO supports this idea. What also may happen as a result of embracing JOMO, and quite surprising this one, JOMO can actually strengthen some of your personal relationships and friendships. If we remove that need to socialize people because we feel we have to, out of obligation, or because we worry about our popularity, we may have more time for the people who actually matter to us. JOMO calls for more meaningful, intentional relationships. It means deeper connections with people you really like, rather than maintaining that illusion of popularity through online interactions which at best are superficial. Popularity, Popularity, that means how popular you are, how well liked you are, or at least hear the illusion of that. And superficial, superficial, it means surface level. It means not very meaningful. So you can have superficial interactions online or in person. Things which, if you look at it, you probably don't care that much about. So one of the benefits of JOMO is being much more aware of how you spend your time and your energy. Instead of just going along with other people's invitations or expectations, we can choose to miss out, to not go, not as a way to harm ourselves, but as a way to reconnect, spend good quality time with ourselves, and discover again those things that we enjoy. JOMO is about tuning in to what we need, what our feelings are. It may be enjoying a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, stroking your cat, reading a book, or spending time in your garden if you have one. JOMO can mean learning again to appreciate life's simple pleasures. And it's very different from the restlessness and dissatisfaction that often comes through FOMO. And embracing JOMO can also mean we are less likely to suffer one of the terrible things that happens in modern life, burnout. Modern life demands of us constantly work, social obligations, family expectations, or the pressure to keep up with your online persona or other people's. We can easily be overwhelmed. But JOMO can act as a counterbalance to our burnout culture. It gives permission for not going to things and instead embracing rest, relaxation, and following our own interests. It's about saying no to things that don't serve us, don't help us, and instead prioritizing recharging ourselves and maintaining some balance in our lives. And notice that word balance. The idea of JOMO, it's not intended to mean you have no friends, never go out, don't socialize, and spend most of your time alone. That's not balance, and that's not healthy for most people. But being more considered about how you spend your time and energy, who you give this to, well, that can bring some amazing positives in your life. If you'd like more material like this to practice your English language, visit adeptenglish.com. If you feel a bit stuck with your language learning, take our course, The 7 Rules of Adept English. It will teach you how to speed up your language learning, and it will teach you the important place that listening like this plays, especially in fluency. So go to adeptenglish.com to find out more.